Okay, we're gonna get started. First, there's not gonna be a recap because last class was sort of hectic and we really went too quick. So right now we're gonna start from the beginning. So there's nothing to really recap. So we're gonna learn about variables and operators. We're gonna do a review and then an assignment. And then after, Kate is gonna go over strings and then you guys are gonna do a project for strings. So first, variables and operations. So variables are variables store things like text and numbers. And if you know variables in math, it'll be pretty easy to learn variables in Python because they're pretty similar. A common variable in math is going to be the x variable, and an example is going to be y equals mx plus b, which is the slope-intercept equation, and y, m, x, and b are all variables that represent numbers. Variables assign values, and to create a variable, you put the variable name and set that equal to the value you want in it. So why do we use variables? First of all, they're easy to modify because you can always set another value to be stored in the variable, and you can reuse them because you could put the variable anywhere in the code throughout the after you create it. And since variables are also labels, they keep your code organized. And when you create a variable, you can name it a lot of things, except it can't start with a number. So you can name it like variable 2, #3 variable 1, or anything basically. Now we're going to go into basic operations. And again, it's similar to math. So in math, there is the plus sign, the minus sign, the multiplication sign, and the division sign. But in Python, the multiplication and division signs are different. But to add, use the plus sign. To subtract, use the minus sign. To multiply, however, you use the asterisk. And to divide, use the /. And you also use parentheses to group and show the order. It's also similar to math. Okay, so there's this small print function in the middle that's really important. You will use it in a lot of code. So what that is whatever's in the parentheses is what will be outputted. If you put a variable in, it will print what the value being stored in the variable is, or if you put in a text surrounded by quotations, it will print that text. So this is all kind of confusing. It's a lot. So here are examples. There are no examples because the pictures didn't show up. So let me just write a quick example. Can you guys all see the Replit screen right now? So here you can create any variable name. Let's say greeting is a name, and you can set that equal to a whole sentence like, hello, my name is Liana. And you can make another variable called age. My age is 14. Notice how this one doesn't have quotations around it because it's a number, and this one does because you're doing words and text. So if you want to print out greeting, you can do that, or you can print out a whole other sentence like, today is September 17th, 2021. And if you run it, it will show that it will print out greeting, and it would also print out what's in the quotations. So it would print out today is September 17th, 2021. Also, if you print out age, it will print out what this value is. So that's basically variables and operations. If you want to do operations with it, if you do like number 1 equals 32, number 2 equals 78, number 3 equals a random number like 12. If you want to operate with it, you can make a new number, number 1 plus number 2 divided by number 3. If you want to use parentheses, you have that. So then it first add number 1 and number 2 together, then divide it by number 3. If you don't have the parentheses, it will first divide number 2 and by number 3, and then add that to number 1. So if you print out new number, it should print out number 1 plus number 2, which is 110 divided by 12, which is, I don't know, 9.1666. So that's basically variables and operations. So do you guys all understand that? Okay, so we're gonna go over the assignment. It's gonna be really quick, and you guys are gonna have to use variables and operators. So it's gonna be a triangle area assignment. So you have to find the individual areas of 4 triangles with the base and height of 2 and 8, 0.5 and 20, 17 and 3, 9999.099, and 1.111102. Then you have to find the sum of all the areas. So if you don't know how to find the area of a triangle, the formula is 0.5 times base times height. So what you're basically going to do is create 8 variables, 4 for the base and 4 for the height, and assign them the value shown above over here. And then after, you're going to create 4 new variables for the area and set that all equal to 0.5 times the base times the height, and then print out each area. And then after you print out each area, you're going to print out the areas added up to each other. So that's all confusing, but I have an example here. It's the rectangle area, so it's going to be different from triangle because the formula is going to be one of the sides times the other, but it's pretty similar. So I made 8 variables: base 1, height 1, base 2, height 2, base 3, height 3, base 4, and height 4. And I assigned them my numbers up here, which are different than your numbers too. So make sure you guys don't mess up there. And then after, I made area 1, 2, 3, and 4, and made that equal to the base 1 times height 1, base 2, height 2, etc., etc. Then after, I printed out all the areas, and then after this prints out an empty line just to make it more organized, and then I printed out all the areas added together. So after that, that just show the 4 areas, then the total area.
Okay, so strings and embedding variables in strings. So introducing strings. Strings are text or a collection of letters. They're useful when you want to print a statement or say something through your program. For example, this is assigning a variable Fred to the string, why do gorillas have big nostrils, big fingers? So if you were to print the statement Fred, then this statement would come out. So continuing, aside from double quotes, you can also use single quotes, which is this over here. However, you must end the string with the same number of quotes you used to create it. A result like this with multiple lines with text: how do dinosaurs pay their bills, with Tyrannosaurus checks. Use 3 single quotes with enters between the words you want on the next line, or you can use this \n before the line that you want to enter. So I have a replit over here that will show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the first string. We just have a normal string with double quotations on each side, and it says hello. If you print it, you can see it says hello. Here, this is a string with single quotations. I could write, my name is Kate. And if I ran it, it would print my name is Kate. Then here is a string with a backslash and then apostrophe. We use this when we want to use contractions for words such as can't. So I would put that here. And if I run, it would be can't. If I didn't include the backslash, there would be an error. You see? Because it has invalid syntax. The quotation marks doesn't register. It doesn't register as an apostrophe. So then we have another string, which is to use things on multiple lines. You can write, for example, hi, hello. And for example, if you wanted to write like a list of foods, you would write cake, donuts. And if you ran this, you can see the whole list over here is on multiple lines. Hi, hello, cake, and donuts. So this is much easier than creating multiple strings for each line. So it's just a more efficient way to do things. And the last example is using the \n, which creates a new line. So what you would do here is you would type, we're making another list. For example, it would be cats, and then \n, and then dogs, and then \n, and then fish. And if I ran this, you could see they're on different lines too, cats, dogs, and fish. So it's much easier than doing it the other way, which would probably be and then other string. And then you have to go and print every single one of them. See, it has the same result, but it's a much, you can see it takes up 6 lines of code compared to 2 lines of code. So it's much harder. Okay, moving on for the presentation. Okay, so string substitution. You substitute variables into strings by writing this. So you make a variable string and you write, hi, my name is %s, and then you write the % of the variable that you want to substitute in. Or you could substitute, for example, another string, but in that case, it's not really worth it. You should just write it inside the string. The %s tells the program that you're going to substitute something. At the end of the string, you add a % to substitute the value. So I have a replit for this, and here, resume share. Okay, so here you can see I have a variable called username, and I put my name in it, Kate. Here I have a string that says, hello, hi, my name is, and it has a substitute sign, and I put my username in it. So if I print it, it would say, you can see, hi, my name is Kate. And then, oh, this is for another thing, so just ignore this right now. But if I wanted to do something like the number of games I have, and then you can substitute S, and then this way, if you ever get new games, here you have the games variable here, and let's say I have 10 games right now. Remember to print it. So let's say you had 10 games right now, it would show the number of games that I have is 10. If you wanted to change this, you could change it to 18. Let's say your mom bought you 8 more games, and the number of games you have is now 18. It prints it. So it's a much easier way to change things if you want to use variables instead of just typing out the number. You use variables later on when you ask for user input, where you don't know what the result is going to be, so you cannot just put it in the string yourself. Okay, moving back onto the presentation, string substitution and multiplication. Oh, I already went over the first part, but you multiply strings by adding the multiplication operator at the end of the string. For example, here, hi, my name is Kate. If I want to say this 5 times, and I don't want to type it out 5 times, you can go back to my replit over here, and you can see if I run it, it says, hi, my name is Kate, hi, my name is Kate, hi, my name is Kate. And it says that 5 times, which is something that I would have had to type out 5 times. You could use this for if you want to make like long lines of spaces or just long numbers in general. It's much easier to use the multiplication symbol. Okay, moving back on Introducing the user input. User input is used to make the program interactive. Users can type in their responses, and Python can store it in a variable for your program to use. So the format here would be username and then input, and then you put quotation marks for what you want to ask the user to be. So this might be a little hard to understand now. I can explain it to you on Replit for now. Okay, so here is the variable favorite food. If you want to ask the user what their favorite food is, you would type in, what is your favorite food? And it's courtesy, it's nice to leave a space here so that things don't look too cramped when the program runs it. So if I ran this, it would say, what is your favorite food to the user? And I would say, if I wanted pizza. So right now it doesn't do anything, but if, for example, I wanted to print out favorite food, if I ran this, and if I go through this again, it would print out pizza after this. So this is really useful in programs that, for example, if you wanted to like ask the user like what their favorite color was, and then you would like paint something on the website this color. Or if you wanted to like ask the user what their favorite animal is, and then you would show them a picture of this animal. You could do that using other operations such as if and else things later that we haven't talked about. Well, we have talked about in the recap, but we haven't like explained it thoroughly yet. So this is like a really important part of Python if you want to make it interactive so that people who don't see the code, they can still interact with the program and they can like gain things from it. So for a quick assignment, or you guys probably should be following along, just try to use the string substitution to make a string where it asks the user, for example, what is your favorite animal? And the user can put in their input, and then it would say, it would give the user, it would return the user a string such as saying, I love this favorite animal too. So how would you do this is you would use the substitution thing, and you would substitute the variable that contains the user input into it. So if I named it animal. So you guys can try this by yourselves. If you need help on it, you can always ask me or the other TA. And it's like a pretty simple thing, just using both string substitutions and user input. Just remember to use the right format for everything. And it's like really important that you use the right symbols, for example, the %, not anything else. And if you want to go back to what we learned about, for example, using different kinds of multi-line strings, you could try doing that too. For example, if you want to, you can like insult them about their animal saying, I hate, if their favorite animal is cats, you could say, I hate cats too. Or you could say, I love cats too. It's your choice. So here is the project for now. Making a report card. You want to make a gradebook system for teachers to input courses and grades. Everything bolded is something that you should set up to let the user input themselves. You should have a variable for each input. The format of the report card should be the school name, the student name, and then here's something that's unchangeable grades. Then you'd have a line separating it. You'd have courses, and you could choose different courses. You could see this is like inspired from, if any of you know Harry Potter, like potions, transfiguration. But you can choose your own courses. No, not you choose your own courses, but you let the user input their own courses. And for grade here, you also let the user input their own grades for that course. So a tip, remember how to use multiple lines in one string with the triple punctuation marks and then writing the whole thing in between. Try writing the entire gradebook using that and then using the %s to substitute variables into it. I can show you a quick example. Oh, okay, I can leave this for a second. But a quick example would be to, oh, my screen isn't moving. Okay. You can see here, if I use the triple punctuation marks, I can write school name, lines, courses, grades. You see all of these things. And if I run it, it comes out all nice and formatted. You want it to look like this. And then if, for example, you wanted to like substitute something, what you would do is you would add a %S. So this is like a tip on how to do the project if you need help or like a little bit of guidance. So this would probably take some more time because you have to create multiple variables for each course and multiple variables for each grade, the school name and everything. Remember, for each input, you want to ask the user a question like, what is the name of your school? Or what course do you want to input here? Or what grade do you want to input here? So I'm going to go back to the slide, the project slide. If you want me to show you how to use the multi-line strings in the replit again, you can ask me, or you could just ask me questions in general. But here is the project. This would probably take some time. Like, I don't expect it to be done really quickly. So you have around the rest of class to do it.
Okay, well, we have 4 more minutes. So if you guys aren't going to ask any questions, or you guys already finished, or you know how to do it, you guys are free to go earlier. But if you want to stay back to finish or ask any questions, you are free to do so too.